All right there. Heyo, Outliers. Today we get a chance to go a little bit deeper here. I'm joined with Cari Kenzie, and we are gonna basically do something we call experience of transformation. And if you haven't yet, go back and listen to part one of my conversation with Cari. It was an amazing exploration of inner wisdom and more. And I really recommend that you start with that conversation and then come into here. And now we're going to take the parts of us that have we got a chance right now to cover the things that we already know, and now we're going to walk into uncharted territory, the parts that are still evolving, because we recognize outliers, like that's your reality. You're taking risks out there. You're still figuring things out, even and it happens at every single level. It happens on every single level, regardless of where you feel you are. So today, Cari, you down to play a bit here?
Yeah.
All
Yeah, let's
right,
do
cool.
it.
Um, you know, I want to bring something to you. There's something in our first part of the conversation
Hmm.
that really struck me. We started talking a little bit about it, and I just wanted to bring it out here, and then
Hmm.
let's see what we can play. I think that
Yeah.
you're someone who can help me see this here.
Hmm.
So you were talking earlier, and you mentioned something about something along the lines of well, I asked you a question about your conviction. That was
Hmm.
my language. You had said something else, but
Hmm.
I heard it and interpreted it as conviction because I know that what I am doing is completely in alignment with why I'm on this earth and who I am. Like I help people be seen, celebrated, and valued for who they are. However, I am feeling the disconnect that yeah, I can feel my palms getting a little bit sweaty as I say it right now. I'm like, should
Hmm.
I be saying that? So I know we're on the right track. I'm feeling a disconnect, and the disconnect is this: the my mind and my actions are all in alignment with moving forward and supporting outliers through the ways that I do it with the world of difference and so forth.
Hmm.
However, right now that level of conviction is feeling like I'm feeling more separated from it. I
Hmm.
feel like in the past I've been pulled toward
Hmm.
things. It's like I
hmm
can't not do it. And it's so funny because even as I say it to you, I can feel my whole physiology changing, and I can feel
hmm
I'm like my voice gets deeper. Like we are here. There's a
hmm
thing to be done. Be unapologetically you. Let's go out there and let's make this the change in the world. And
hmm
even small things where it's gone from changing the world to changing your world, it feels more palatable. But I wonder if those are some things that get in the way of feeling pulled in the way that I have. So I'd love to bring to you. I'd love to just explore with you here and
hmm
see what comes up. I don't need a massive aha. I don't need anything like
hmm
that. But I trust you to be someone to be in conversation with, to just explore the thing that was really connected.
hmm
That I know it's there, but feels a
hmm
little bit further away right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I think it's a fantastic conversation. And quite honestly, everybody goes through it. We all go through it. We all have those moments, I think, where we feel very convicted and very drawn and pulled and like 1,000% in. And then those moments where we're like, I know it's there. I know this is the thing I'm supposed to be doing, but okay,
Yeah.
So it just, I mean, let's just honor that in this moment of like we all have these moments. We all have these experiences, and I think it's great to question. I do. And I think it's a perfect opportunity and to really look at it. Now, the thing that came up to me just as you were talking, um, and I don't know if people can see, but I want to express. So one thing is you said, I am mentally or yeah, mentally and physically, I think were the two things that you said. I am mentally and physically. And my mind went, where's your heart? And then when you said, you were like, I used to be drawn. And if you watch your motions every time, it's from your heart. And so then the question is, where did that disconnect happen?
All right. So that's fantastic here. Since you bringing up the heart, what I'm doing right now, just taking a
Mm-hmm.
step back in and seeing if I can just reactivate it.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, it feels like I'm out of practice.
Mm-hmm.
I spent more time in heart-centered spaces,
Mm-hmm.
especially with a lot of different coaches and such, years back,
Mm-hmm.
and to be honest, the real honest thing, what I don't want you to know about me is I just wasn't making enough consistent revenue for
Mm-hmm.
me to really be like, oh, this is working. I'm like, I
Mm-hmm.
have to go try something different, you know? Um, and that the head started taking over.
Mm-hmm.
And So I will say this. I realize I want to say this in a way that doesn't feel like putting the blame on anything. But I think that when my daughter was going to be born, so I have a three and a
Mm-hmm.
half year old, and at the time of this conversation, my daughter's about to turn one. I saw it happen with my first child, and then it happened again here, which was just like, hey, no games, get everything like in alignment. This is all about like get the structure together. Everything
Mm-hmm.
needs to just work because you don't know what's going to happen with your time and anything. So I felt like my energy and my time and my attention were going to have to go away. And as such, it almost felt a bit more frivolous or naive or childish to go forth from the mission as opposed to like what's just going to work. Just do what's going to work,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, beforehand, there was already shifts. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
that. It was just more like I feel like it went into overdrive
Mm-hmm.
at that point. Um, and yeah, I like if I'm really honest, I feel I've integrated a lot more of who I have like it used to take work to show up
Mm-hmm.
to speak in this way or I used to be really nervous around like just speaking like honest truth. Now I can do that on a Tuesday. Like it's not it's there's I can just show up and it's not. So I think there's another part of it that has gotten comfortable with it and also doesn't feel like has not spent the time like actually in conversation with my heart.
Mm.
A lot of different things. It feels like it comes back to that. Um, but I'm also including why I think I walked away, or at least
Mm.
like took time away.
So why would you say that was? Why did you take time away?
Um, I think this is what's coming in, and I'm not sure what if it's a heart or a brain that's talking, but it's like the results that I was seeing didn't feel like it was able to be sustained by
Mm-hmm.
like leading myself with the heart. It felt like okay,
Mm.
like I'm about to have another child. We have to get
Mm-hmm.
serious about this here, and then
Mm-hmm.
like all brain stuff took place.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say mentally and physically. It's like, and I've been taking action.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not. It's not like I'm just thinking about it here. It's
Of
like
course.
there's action happening. There's things that are taking place out in the world. Um, and there's like an inevitability to it. But I used to lead what I call the world joy movement. All right.
Okay.
I now lead the world of difference movement. It's had its shift, but like joy was with me at all time. My first business when I became a coach was called Enjoyment. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, it was with me, and over time, joy for me became far more than are you happy? You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
um, but there's an element of this where it's like, oh, how much am I enjoying? I am enjoying the struggle part, and I'm also like, I'm over it. But there's just a component that just feels like, yeah, that's. Oh, sorry, there's something else that's popping in my mind. Do you mind as we
No,
talk?
well,
It's
like
all
tell me what's
flowing.
popping in. Yeah.
There's another level here that came up around like I left. It's the conversations, like
Mm.
so heart-based conversations, heart-led conversations
Mm-hmm.
fell off of my radar. I was like, I'm writing a book. I'm gonna go write the book. I'm working with my team. I'm working over here. Like I'm getting things behind the scenes. And each time I'm doing this, became more and more isolated in a sense, learning new things, so on and so forth. But um, and I left my company of coaches. When I say company, I don't mean like my or like my
Mm-hmm.
company, but
Mm-hmm.
like the people around me are all
Mm-hmm.
coaches. So I left that world. Um, but I was on my way out in the sense anyway. It's weird. It's like it's not like one thing in particular, like you said earlier, but
Mm-hmm.
like when the trajectory was already moving, and at a certain point, I think with my daughter coming in, I think
Mm-hmm.
it was like just the right excuse to go and say, "Oh yeah, let's brain hijack," you know. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually really, I got to say this thing. I'm really glad that it did. It's
Mm-hmm.
like it was not an easy year last year, but I think it set a foundation that I did not have before, you know.
Mm-hmm.
However, now that I'm playing back in the game, I miss being called into it. I miss being like yeah, I'm doing it
Mm-hmm.
again, but like I miss that part. I miss the heart.
Mm-hmm. So if you closed your eyes for just a couple of minutes, took a
Mhm.
couple of breaths, I mean, a couple seconds and a couple minutes, but
Mhm.
and just took a couple of breaths, could you ask yourself, what is standing between you and your heart? What comes up?
And I'm smiling right now because like it is the response, whatever myself is a bit cheeky and like and edgy here. And it's like, dude, you just haven't been talking. Like you just haven't created the time for the heart. You know, it's
Okay.
like it's all like it's not that complicated. Like
Mm-hmm.
like it's that general terms, like
Mm-hmm.
it ain't complicated, it
Mm-hmm.
ain't like
Mm-hmm.
extensive. It's just like you just haven't been creating heart time. And yet you
Okay.
want heart to be working for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So what gets in the way of creating heart time?
Oh, um, that's good. That's a good question. Because I wanted the initial answer was going to be like time, like just be like just
Mm-hmm.
going back, so on and so forth. Living in like feeling more scarcity now than I did beforehand. Like feeling like I'm more aware and being like, hey, like yes, yes, it's good to have faith, but it's also good to make sure you're taking actions that align with it and
Mm-hmm.
actions
Mm-hmm.
at the level of what it might take. So it's not just
Mm-hmm.
so all those things come into play, and I do think that that plays out. Um, but I want to say, like, I'm curious why I said when you asked the question.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, this is what's coming up here. I don't want to say it, so I will say it. And it feels like while I have faith in me overall, faith
Mm-hmm.
from the heart had diminished, you know?
Okay.
Um, and yet at the same time, it's funny because I'm like the faith had diminished, but at the same time, I'm like, I believe so strongly that like this a whole thing would be magnified so much better. So like if if the heart was engaged, the heart was like
Okay.
back in the game.
So when did you lose faith in your heart?
Mm,
That's one of those I got to ask internally questions, you know?
that's the Can you do me a favor? Can you speak the words again or say it a different way?
Yeah, of
Because
course.
the answer I got, I'm like, I don't know if that's the heart right there or if that's the brain trying to make it work. So can you
Well,
just
tell
ask
me
it one more
the
time?
keep your eyes closed and tell me the answer you got.
The answer I got was like, it's like you never not like haven't been with the heart. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
connected, dude. Like you're genuine. Like things come from you. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're a heartfelt person. Like you are the
Mm-hmm.
heart.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been here. Um, and the thing, this is why like I had to check it because it's
Mm-hmm.
like I just like moved out of the way because you need to take care of like some other things. You needed to get the systems in place. You needed to get the infrastructure in place. You need to understand the core of business in a way that continue to this is interesting. Honestly, allow us to just keep playing the game. You know,
Mm,
um,
okay.
and yeah, and
So when did you decide, not the conscious part of you, but when did you decide that the heart couldn't play the game of business?
I'm asking, I'm
Mm-hmm.
searching.
Mm-hmm. Just allow.
All right, cool. Let me
Yeah.
back up a
Yeah.
little bit.
Just
Just
yeah. Take a nice deep breath.
when
So when did you decide that the heart couldn't play in business?
okay, what comes from me? Interesting. Um, I can find myself like I have two answers now. And I can find myself resistant saying it, so I'm going to say it too. The interesting thing is, interesting. Like, why don't I want to say it? Because it's really simple. I read. I think what took place was a desire to like step into no, let me just answer it directly. I read something in the book around that was just about like how to promote a book, right? And it was
Okay.
just like the whole thing just comes down to like what's the cost to acquire a customer? As long as your cost to acquire a customer is greater than your average order value, you can play this game forever, you know? And there was like all of a sudden like the math was like right there. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, this makes sense. And I'm like, I have a math background, economics background. So I'm like, I get this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how could I have gone all this time without like bringing this in, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And then I
Mm-hmm.
started hearing other influencers or influences in my life. When I say influences, I mean one other person who I really have allowed to be influential with me, and I trust the person.
Yeah.
Um, but there was just so much more of like, you totally didn't like you left this part of you behind. I was a retirement actuarial consultant. Like, I know numbers, I know processes, I know like just
Yeah.
I would get into Excel. Like I still to this day have I'm still waiting for someone to be better at Excel than me. I'm just like like and I don't need to go too far down, but it's like where like why do you let that go? You know? And so I think that was when I made the decision where it's like, all right, we gotta bring in back in this part of you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think I thought it was gonna be a lot less time, honestly. It's like I saw what I needed to learn, and
Mm-hmm.
then this process has been a long process. But I think that was the when I made the decision, then it was reinforced again when I heard someone else. Like for me,
Mm-hmm.
I say it takes two dots to make a line.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't need to hear it twice. And yeah, that was I was like, this I missed this. And so now I have
Mm-hmm.
to go back and bring me back in.
Mm-hmm.
And as I kept, yeah, I think it just took longer and I isolated myself more and more as time went out.
So what's interesting to me is because you keep going back and forth, and I love when the mind likes to do this, it loves to play this little game, is you keep going back and forth in a way of there's a little bit of a justification that happens, but what's for you, there's an element of you that doesn't think that these two players can be on the same field. You don't think that the business can be on the field with the heart or the heart can be on the field with the business, which is why it's really interesting, right? And I don't know what it looked like for you. I mean, I can only imagine as an actuary, like there's not a lot of heart that's at play in that. And so for you to step out of that field and to step fully into heart, like there was something that very felt very passion forward for you, but then in that passion forward, it didn't generate the income that you were hoping it would generate. And so then what you decided is because of these two influences that came in, you were like, yep, see, was right all along. I got to step back into business and I have to leave heart behind. And then those became disconnected. And then this is what is sitting in this block in between the two is there's a part of you that doesn't feel that the two can play on the same field together.
There's more truth in that than I want to admit. So that feels good. Um, okay. I like this is me like processing in here because I'm like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, so there's two things. Like I want to keep going down. I have to be mindful of the time that we have
Yeah, for
right now.
sure. Yeah.
But like, do you mind if I share like my insight and what I would
Yeah,
like to do with this year?
of
Like,
course.
um, so firstly, just like thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, not for the conversation this right now, but thank you for showing up in a way that like sparked this in me. One,
Mm,
because I wasn't thinking about this earlier today. And then the other part of it is just thank you for being someone I would trust with it.
yeah.
I think that what you just said here is that insight. I'm gonna play with it and
Hmm.
just like the why and all that. Like I think right now I just gonna be like, all right, now I'm gonna do everything with
Hmm.
1% more heart and just like rebuild the muscle of that and just be like,
Yes.
all right, something related to this, bring in more heart. What would it look like
Yeah.
that? Bring 1% more in. I think that I feel like we'll get back into where it is, but it feels good to like it feels like a long lost like brother or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, you're always been part of the family. Like, we didn't mean to like leave out. Like, of course, your family. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I think it'll turn on faster than it did, but I needed to say it. and to be
Yeah.
witness and saying it.
See, and I think that's such a huge component of it, right? Is our minds can play these wonderful little games of protection. And so where I think I see the issue, right? Sometimes it just takes somebody else witnessing me in my words and then feeling those words and seeing the energy of them to go, okay, I understand that this is what you're saying, but this is what I'm hearing. And then just in having somebody bring that forward, now you have the opportunity to have that wisdom within to go, oh, you're right. Yeah, you know what? It's not really something I wanted to admit to. It's cool. But now that I have the wisdom, I'm going to be able to figure out the steps to be able to move forward, which is beautiful. So thank you for trusting me and thank you for being so open. And I got to tell you what, this is something that I think so many people in our industry and with the passion and the purpose that we have sit in the energy of. And so just an honor to have you bring this forward for other people to be able to witness as well. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being someone
Mhm.
to navigate with this. All right. Thanks for
Yeah.
playing. All right.
Yes, of course.
I appreciate you, Carrie.